Microsoft just announced that the Knowledge Agent in SharePoint is no longer called the Knowledge Agent. I'm going to break down what this means for you and what the bigger picture looks like. Let's get into it. So just a couple of weeks ago, Microsoft had a big stream that coincided with SharePoint's 25th birthday. There were tons of announcements, lots of stuff with AI, of course. And one of those things was that the Knowledge Agent is not going to be called the Knowledge Agent anymore. So what is the new name? Well, it doesn't actually have one. They're just calling it AI in SharePoint. So why did they stop calling a thing a thing? That's what I'm still wondering. Why did they debrand the Knowledge Agent? Well, for me, I think it's because there's a lot of different AI features that SharePoint has now. Whether you like it or not, it's here and more is going to come. So I think that this was really about integrating all of those AI features, putting them all under one umbrella name, AI in SharePoint. Really simple. That way they don't have to think of, well, all the other names for all the other things that you can do with AI in SharePoint. Maybe they've realized maybe everything doesn't have to have its own product name. Maybe everything can just start being called AI in SharePoint. Now, this isn't the first time that they've done this. Actually, just last year, SharePoint Premium was called SharePoint Premium. Now it is just called Document Processing Services. Such a generic name, right? But it at least describes what it is. I know that there were a lot of customers that asked me, do I have SharePoint or do I have SharePoint Premium? Or do I need SharePoint or do I need SharePoint Premium? They thought it was an either or. Bad branding on SharePoint Premium. Lack of marketing, or not great marketing anyway. There was just a lot of confusion about that. In my opinion, I thought it was pretty clear, but at least this isn't the first time. So SharePoint Premium got debranded. It had a whole bunch of other features inside it. Those are still called the same features, like autofill, which actually is part of the Knowledge Agent, which is now called AI in SharePoint. So there's a lot of other features that are starting to get more and more integrated into SharePoint, just the core product, really, or at least certain things that are automatically unlocked with certain licensing. So that brings us to another point. The licensing for AI in SharePoint. We'll get right back to the video, but real quick, Copilot is really great for working with your data, but how are you protecting that data? If you don't have a backup and recovery strategy, here's your wake-up call. Think your cloud data is safe just because it's in Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace? Think again. Accidental deletions, ransomware, and compliance gaps can still put your business at risk. AFI is a next-gen backup and recovery platform built for modern cloud environments, including Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, Azure, AWS, and Kubernetes. It offers full fidelity restores, encrypted full-text search, version history, and even self-service recovery, so users can get back data without waiting on IT. And when ransomware hits, AFI detects it early and automatically backs up your data before damage is done. Over 10,000 organizations trust AFI to protect their cloud data. If you care about uptime, compliance, and peace of mind, it's time to back up smarter with AFI. So it does require, today anyway, an M365 Copilot license to get all of those features. It does make plenty sense, though, why you need that currently. Most of these things are going to rely on the semantic index in Microsoft 365. That index doesn't get created until you have a Copilot license acquired for the organization. That index never even gets created. None of the processing happens. None of that happens until you unlock that first one. And most of these features do use that semantic index, which is really part of the core Copilot product. But here's an interesting clue. In the blog post, you'll find that down below, by the way, in the blog post where Adam Harmons covered all the big announcements for the 25th birthday stream for SharePoint. In there, there's a clue about something along the lines of, if users are licensed for AI in SharePoint, it doesn't specifically call out M365 Copilot license. It doesn't, in other places, it does refer to that, but there's a different message. And I think that that is a clue for us to take from this, that there will be an alternate licensing method. I don't know if that's this E7 license that there's a lot of rumors about. I don't know if I think a lot of us have assumed at some point Microsoft would combine an E3 or probably an E5 with Copilot, and that would just become one license to simplify your licensing. You're not buying two different things for every user. It's really just one. So I think that there's going to be a different pathway to unlock AI in SharePoint. It could become part of a seeded license or part of the entitlements for E3, E5, E7, maybe. It could be that way. But the fact that that one statement exists, I think, is a bit of a clue. So don't assume you will always need a Copilot license. There may be other things. Microsoft has made it a lot easier to start to leverage more advanced AI. For example, I believe last year, Copilot Studio became an entitlement for those who had a Copilot license. Before, all you could create was a declarative agent in Copilot Studio. And then they said, okay, well, let's give them more without requiring them to necessarily purchase the Copilot Studio tenant license. So they've given a lot more and more functionality to M365 Copilot, probably to help with adoption and to have a better value proposition for that license. They could be extending, they could be looking at SharePoint Now and perhaps saying, let's start giving some of these features to people who may not necessarily have a separate Copilot license. Time will tell. I wouldn't be surprised if we heard something at the M365 Community Conference or later this year at the Microsoft Ignite Conference. If something comes out and all of a sudden the licensing is starting to become a little more clear for organizations who want to adapt or adopt AI within their M365 environment. So the bigger picture that I see happening with all of this AI stuff coming to SharePoint and the knowledge agent being debranded, it is about multiple AI features across SharePoint in different experiences to solve different problems for different people that all complement each other. You've got an AI-based or an AI-first building experience for sites, pages, libraries, things like that. You've got a knowledge agent so that once those things, those assets are created, the knowledge agent can now come in and further refine things, to improve things, to help the site owner maintain their site in a way that they've usually ignored in the past, manually checking permissions and all that. It's done a lot. It's doing a lot more of those things for the site owners. So end users, site members, site owners, even these site admins are all starting to benefit from AI features. And it's there so that if you want to leverage them, you can. If you don't want to, you could certainly do things the old school way. But I believe everything is moving towards a more conversational experience with SharePoint and moving away from all the different clicks to get into the site settings and run reports or whatever. We've done that, and time has proven that users will not be doing those things unless they're forced to. And even then, they're probably not going to do it very well. AI is now coming in to fill in that gap, to handle a lot of that work for them. Now, as I mentioned at the top of this video, there's a ton of announcements that were made. If you want to see a full breakdown of everything that was announced, going in depth, then just click or tap the screen and I'll see you over there.